Good morning, or whatever time of day it is, all my rural Xers out there. This is Eric, the rural Xer, here with you, coming to you from Warm Springs, Georgia, or just outside of downtown Warm Springs, at FDR's Little White House. We're about to take a tour through this attraction here. It's a state. Part of the state park system here in Georgia, and we I was very surprised myself, I should say, that we were staying in a motel just up the road from here, probably not 2 miles up the main road from here. Now, it's a little ways down here, probably, maybe about a mile and a half, 2 miles from the main road down here to the little White House. But yeah, we had gone over to Pine Mountain, Georgia, near. Actually, it was just outside of Callaway Gardens and had breakfast over there. We are having a hard time finding any restaurants around here that are open during the week because most restaurants don't open till Thursday or Friday, and there's very few of them. They're very few and far between. You don't have a whole lot of choices around here, and you have to really go over to Pine Mountain to even find any restaurants. We ate over there at one last night, very good. Can't remember the name of it, but it was right downtown. But it was a very good restaurant. Anyway, getting off subject here, but so anyway, we went over to breakfast over there at Callaway Gardens, and then come back over here, and come to find out we were just up the road from this FDR's Little White House. Now, I've been here probably 2 or 3 times over the years during my lifetime. Me and Teresa actually came here on our honeymoon when we were over staying at Callaway Gardens 25 years ago in 2000 when we first got married in November. And we came here, and I think that was the last time I've been here. So, anyway, with that long introduction, come along and join me if you will. This is the state plaque giving some history and significance of FDR's Little White House here in Warm Springs. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. There's no point in it. If you're interested in reading it, you can stop the video and take a look at it for yourself. Oh, here's another plaque right out here talking about, I guess, that Franklin D. Roosevelt was a Mason, or at least it's got a Masonic symbol at the top of it. I take it that he was a Mason, so you can take a look at this right here. This poster here, I was told by one of the employees here at the museum that is all about the fighting preacher during the Korean War, Colonel Logan E. Weston. And there's quite a few stories here about how the Bible had actually saved his life over the course of the war. And this Bible is actually, as you can see right here, if you can see for the glare, that bullet that's right in the binder part of it, as you can see right there. And that actually saved his life several times over the years. This is very interesting. He's actually wrote a book about all of this called The Fighting Preacher, right there. And it sounds like a good book. I may actually look that up on Kindle and read that book. Some memorabilia of FDR: wheelchair, hat, his famous cigarette holder, shoes, and his leg braces that he used while he had polio. Coming into the museum from the visitor center, we're surrounded by kind of a glass hallway with these banners here. And one of the first banners on the right as we come through the door is this banner about Rosie the Riveter. Of course, most people have heard of her as a fictional character, but it just shows the women's strength during World War II. As most of the men had either joined voluntarily to go off to war, or had been drafted into the war whatever the case may be. So most of the men were gone, so there wasn't anybody except the women left to run the factories and make all the different items that need to be manufactured during the war. So Rosie the River took over, and this banner commemorates her and her legacy of all the women who put in the time and hard work that went into running the plants, making all the military items, everything from planes to ammunition to tanks to artillery and everything else that needed to be produced during the war. And back then, America was a manufacturing powerhouse, and that's one of the reasons that America won the war was because of our manufacturing might in the world at that time. Of course, that's not the way it is nowadays. Hoping to get back to that, but we'll see. Another one of these posters here in this hallway commemorates women in the military service, or WAC, Women's Army Auxiliary Corps. And this is a poster commemorating them and their service in the military as well. And they used women as well to ferry planes. They would train women to fly planes, all kinds of planes, from B-24s, B-17s, fighter planes, and all. And they would end up building them during the war back home, and they would use women to actually ferry them overseas to military bases over there that needed planes and all. So they used women quite extensively during the war as well in the military. At the end of that hall, we're faced here with a big mural of Dwight D. Eisenhower welcoming Georgians.
Two adults and two children. She just won't be here, you guys. Two adults and two kids is what, I believe that's what it said on there.
So probably, I bet it would be less.
Here's a plaque in the museum describing how they made hand controls for cars and how Delano Roosevelt was instrumental in designing the first set of hand controls for cars, and how he was able to design and make these instruments, these tools, to be able to drive his own car. Here's a plaque in the museum describing FDR's lifetime achievements through the years of all the different organizations he helped found and different achievements that he was able to do. Here's a setup of the hand controls that FDR used to control his Ford that you see over to the right there. FDR had quite a collection of canes that he'd either bought himself or had given to him. I'm sure a lot of these were given to him by friends and family over the years. Here's something that's very interesting. FDR was an actual avid stamp collector, and during his first term in office, the George Washington 200th anniversary stamp came out, and the cover, first day cover, is where they affix a stamp like that on a envelope and then have it dated the first day of release by the post office, officially by the post office. He was actually in office by this time and was able to get this envelope and the White House envelope. He signed his name to it, and he got a whole set of the George Washington first day stamps and affixed it to this envelope, and then had it backdated to the original date because it was the next day that he did this, but got the post office in Washington, D.C. to actually backdate it. Very interesting. We're now outside the visitor center and museum, which is behind me at the moment, and this is a map of the complex of the little White House that we're fixing to tour right now. So here we go. We're coming up on the what appears to be the little White House, the front side of it, kind of from the side of it, and we're fixing to go in and take a tour through it. Well, it looks like at this time the little White House is closed to the public as far as looking on the inside or touring the inside and looking at least parts of it. Like most museums of homes and stuff, they usually have only certain areas that you can go into, and they'll usually have chains where you can go in to a room but only so far and not be able to touch any of the furnishings and all. So it appears that this one is completely at this time shut down to the public, unfortunately. Now, I don't know if all of the buildings are like this, but the little White House seems to be right here. I'm coming around the front corner of it, and as you can see on up here, there is chains across the steps going up and over to the left saying do not enter. So unfortunately cannot go into the little White House. Okay, I was corrected by my wife, who said this is not the little White House, even though it looks like the little White House. It is not the little White House. It was built as a museum, I guess, years ago. According to this plaque over here on the side of the building, it says this museum, was dedicated April 12, 1961 by S. Ernest Vanderveer, governor of Georgia. So this was the museum at one time that was set up here on top of the hill, and now it's an administrative office. It says this Miss Georgia Mustaine Wilkins, if I'm saying that correctly. Miss Georgia was the onlyest person I ever knew that could use paper napkin twice. A maid in one of the foundation homes remarked. Miss Georgia would walk a mile to save a nickel, then give away thousands of dollars over her lifetime, marked a close friend. Miss Wilkins, a spinster who died in June 1959 at the age of 77, left an estate valued at more than $2 million. Miss Georgia believed in trying to help build a better world by aiding others. She knew the value of a dollar not as something for herself, but as something to give away to worthy individuals, institutions, and causes. And then on down here it continues. When Miss Georgia passed away, she left her estate to individuals, causes, and her church. In her will, she bequeathed the home she loved best, her comfortable brick summer cottage in Warm Springs, to the Franklin Roosevelt Memorial Commission to be used as a museum. So this was built as an actual home, not as a museum. Again, I'm standing corrected. She called this cottage Mustaine Place after her great-grandparents who reared her from babyhood. Upon receiving the cottage, the commission asked Governor Ernest Vanderveer for funding to renovate the cottage into a museum. Governor Vanderveer set aside $75,000 for the renovation. After completion, Governor Vanderveer dedicated the museum on April 12, 1961, the 16th anniversary of President Roosevelt's passing at his cottage. This building was used as a museum for 40 years and is now the administrative office for the State Historic Site. So that is what this building is an administrative building right now. So it started out as a home, then used as a museum for the Little White House complex here in Warm Springs, Georgia, and now is being was converted into an administrative building and being used as such. So now we know. And just give you a little bit of a background, you probably saw in one of those clips as I was coming up this hill, this long hill, all of these state flags. It looks like all of these flags are behind pieces of granite, marble, quartz, all kinds of different rocks that comes from that particular state. Like this one here is from Tennessee. And it tells by this plaque here, sorry, had it out of frame there. It says the 16th state to enter the Union, June 1st, 1796. And this is pink marble. Now, that doesn't look very pink to me. There is pink marble that comes from the area that I live in, Marble Hill, Georgia. Actually, we live in Jasper, Georgia, but we actually live closer to Marble Hill than we do Jasper. And there has been some very, very pink marble that's come out of there. And there's been several prominent buildings, including the Tate House, that has built out of pink marble. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. So these are just all of the different types of granite, marble, quartz, pink marble, things like that that are prominent in these states with the state flag, and plaques commemorating when they were actually, like this one here, 46th state. Oklahoma was the 46th state to enter the Union, November 16th, 1907. So as if you come here, you'll see all this pathway coming up to the old museum, I should say. And you'll see these flags. That's what you'll see here. Now here is the Little White House. Don't know how we missed this, but this is the Little White House here. And it's down off the hill there, but this is the actual front gate where they'd come in and out at. And this is what's really neat, is they actually have a swinging or pivoting gate here that they use to call a bump gate. And I guess the reason they call it a bump gate is you could actually drive up to it or go up to it, walk up to it, and just push it, and it would actually spin. But as you can see, it's flanked by guardhouses over here off to the left and to the right over here where Teresa and Jalen are at. But anyway, this is the front entrance going into the Little White House up here. We finally found it. Now here's a closer view of the Little White House as you're coming down the hill from the gate. And of course this driveway actually circles around here. So basically you'd come in from the gate up here, up on the hill, and then you would hang a left, or a right, and come down this way and go around in front of the house down here. Here you have the servants' quarters right here to the right of the front of the house. And as they were telling us before, I'll come back out here, started in there a little bit too soon. They actually have a garage door where you can pull a car in. and it was on the lower level, and then you had the servants' quarters up here. But this is where they kept that 1938 Ford that Delano Roosevelt, FDR, had last right before he passed away here in Warm Springs. Now, believe it or not, they did have the upstairs of the servants' quarters open up, so we can actually walk around a little bit. And they have, I think, a couple of bedrooms here. Looks like one here with a regular sized bed, or at least maybe a queen, possibly. Wood stove out here in the common living area, a little desk, and a little couch over here. Looks like one of those wicker, almost a wicker style or bamboo style couch, and then you got another little bedroom over here. Did have very, very early electric lighting, it looks like, by the bulb up there. But they also had lanterns. If you look around here, they actually had lanterns somewhere here. And here's the bathroom. That would be a little bit disconcerting to be sitting on the toilet right in front of a window like that. Surely they had curtains or something over that. But yeah, they had some lanterns, I think. Oil lantern. Yeah, right here. I knew I saw one here someplace. They had one underneath that little table next to the bed in this little bedroom here. But this was the servants' quarters, so I'm sure it wasn't nearly as elaborate as the main house is. And here's the guest house to the left of the walkway going up to the main house. And Teresa Jalen just came out, so we'll make our way over here to the door. And this is where all the dignitaries would come who visited FDR while he was down here in Georgia at the little White House. Oh. And looks like they had a little, maybe a living room with a convertible bed of some sort, a fireplace there. Very, very nice. Map of Georgia, and I guess all the different counties in Georgia here right in the foyer coming in. And you had another bedroom back here with 2 twin beds, and a little dressing area back over there. And right here you had a little closet, it looks like, or maybe it was a door to go upstairs or downstairs, who knows. I sure don't. But yeah, very small, but probably didn't need a whole awful lot of space for dignitaries. They wasn't probably as used to big living spaces like we are these days. We're now finally approaching the little White House itself, the main building here on this compound, and fixing to go inside and take a look around. Little White House. Enter here. Okay, so we have to go off over here to the right to enter over this little footbridge right here. Looks like you got an ice box right here, because it looks like down here is where you'd actually put the big block of ice in, down here in that little door, and then the rest of it would be used for food and all, because it's got that little drain down there that would let the water drain as the ice block melted. So that's what an ice box would actually look like back in the day. Coming right into the kitchen here, as you can see from the shelving, the kitchen sink, a little table down there at the end of the, kind of like a galley kitchen here, and with a few of the early model appliances that they might have had. Looks like a toaster oven here, waffle iron, and maybe a tea kettle or a coffee pot of some sort, and some, looks like bread boxes over here in the corner. And then you got over here behind us, you got the stove and oven area right here. Coming out into the hall from the kitchen, you've got the this china cabinet. And it looks like there's some really nice fine china in here on both sides over here. You've got one right here. Quite a few different design chinas, sets in them, plus one over here as well. Coming out of the kitchen and through the foyer, the main foyer, the front door, you come into the back side of the house where the den and the fireplace is right here, and the desk. And it seemed like at one time I remember that famous unfinished portrait stood in here in this area. Oh, it is. It's still here. It's just on the other side in the dining room area. But as you can see, FDR must have been a very avid reader. They've got bookcases all over the place. A lot of them filled with books, and it looks like you got some really, really old, early style telephones over here. I'm sure that he had the latest, greatest technology at the time. But see, the bookcases go all the way up to the ceiling there. And you've got a deck that goes out here through these double doors. And then, I'm sorry.
You're good, sir.
Then you got the famous unfinished portrait over here.
That's actually a replica.
Is that a replica? Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're now outside, but we come to a little door, back door, into what they call the secretary's room. And so I guess this is the secretary for Roosevelt, and they had their own room, and look like they have some sort of communications console over there that they used to communicate probably with Washington while they were out of town. And a lot of other dignitaries had to get the camera close to the mirror, or the window I should say, because it's got glass here and it's getting a lot of reflection off of it. But there's a bed here, and this is just panning around. If you can see through the reflection, it's very hard to see, but and then it opens back up to the main living room over here. Looking off of the back balcony off of the main house, and it's kind of half-rounded balcony, sort of like at the White House. I guess that's maybe where they get the name Little White House from. Marine Corps sentry post down there, as you can see. And I'm not sure what this is. This may be Secret Service quarters you're seeing the top of right here. But they said that FDR bought this land and decided where he was wanting to put the house at, and the design of the house and everything. So he had a lot to do with how and where it was built. And so, as you can see, there's also looks like some lights that they may have used at one time to secure the house. And there's another one over here as well. But yeah. So now we're on the other side of the house looking at the president's room. This is where he slept. Very small room. His desk over here in the corner. His own bathroom here. A tub, a commode, and a sink over here. And I'm guessing that this was probably Eleanor's room. Yep, Eleanor's bedroom. It's got actually 2 beds in here. Chest of drawers over here with a mirror above. So. One last item that I wanted to get here was the unfinished portrait of FDR. and this was donated to the museum by the artist who actually created it. Now, the last time that we were here, 25 years ago, it was still in the little White House itself, sitting in the den, and I remember them talking quite extensively about it. But since then, some of the other paintings that were done, which were what they called studies, was donated to the museum, which showed how they wanted to prepare the actual final product, as you can see in these other portraits flanking the main one here. And this is the one that she was working on at the time of his death, April 10th. She was out on the back deck painting him with a plain background, and he was complaining of a very bad headache, and a little while later collapsed and was taken into his bedroom there in the little White House, and he passed away. And this is the final painting. She collected her paintings and left that day, and then several years later donated it to the museum as a gift to the American people. It's a very interesting story. I'll show the plaques down here that tells all about it, and you can read them if you want to. We're now over here at the actual historic Warm Springs in Warm Springs, Georgia, where FDR actually came here years ago, back in the 1930s, to this therapeutic spa. And this is it here. And it has been open to the public over the years, but it's actually closed right now. They have just went through an extensive renovation of the building and the grounds around it and all, and it's just outside of downtown Warm Springs, Georgia. But at the moment, it is closed to the public because, not because they're not completed with the building itself, but the Warm Springs are coming up kind of, the water itself is actually coming up a little bit murky and all, and they're trying to figure out a way to clear it up, because they're actually wanting to open it up with the pool where people can actually come here and swim. But this is just the outside of the building, as you can see right here. And it's very interesting, because we were talking with them at the little White House just a little while ago about this, whether it was still open, because the last time we were here, it was in pretty bad condition, and it was still open at the time to the public, but it was like I said, it was pretty bad, and I was wondering if it was even still open now, because that was 25 years ago. Of course, you can't really see anything as far as the pool or the springs themselves or anything. Now it looks like they've cleared out some of that area behind it, back up there on the hill. That may be where the springs come in from or something. I'm not really sure. There looks like some steps that goes up there onto that hill from the back corner of that area back there. But anyway, what you're hearing in the background is a train that came through. It's just a long train. It just keeps coming. But we thought we'd drive by here. Teresa wanted to actually drive by it, even though we knew that we couldn't go in it, just to see it. We wasn't sure if we'd even be able to see the building, but it's right here off of the main strip coming through town. So we were able to pull right into the parking lot and come here. Now here is the Georgia historic plaque that they placed out here, and it gives kind of the history of the Warm Springs. So as usual, you can stop it and read that if you want to. But yeah, we'll walk on around here to the other corner of the building and get a shot of it, and that'll pretty much be it. We're going to probably drive on around, drive through town and see downtown Warm Springs itself, because I don't think we've ever been through Warm Springs, and our motel is just up the road. It's not probably even a mile outside of downtown, so we figured we'd go ahead and drive through downtown Warm Springs and by the old depot that FDR would come in whenever he come in to visit Warm Springs back in his administration and all. But you can see that there's a fence around the pool area, it looks like. And then there's another building over here, probably has to do with the springs themselves or something, and the tank too. So anyway, but that's pretty much it. I just wanted to stop and get a real quick view of this building. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like. It sure helps out the channel and the algorithm. And for more similar content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to get notifications whenever I drop a new video, which I know is not that often. I'll be the first to admit that. I do it whenever I can, and usually it's whenever I'm on vacation or something like that. Myself with Teresa, whenever we're out of town, like this weekend or this week of Thanksgiving. But anyway, if you made it this far in the video, I sure do appreciate it, and consider, like I said, giving it a like if you liked it, and subscribing to the channel. And with that said, we hope everyone that is watching this video has a absolutely fantastic and relaxing Thanksgiving, and ask you not to eat too much if that's possible this Thanksgiving. So with that being said, we're going to get on out of here. Y'all have a great day. God bless, and we will see you in our next video.